Hello and welcome to OurTime. What can I say about our next guest? She's sung with bands, in stage musicals, she's been a radio host and producer, organiser extraordinaire and event producer, and so much more, even a fairy godmother. Hello, Betty Samis.
Stop it. Thank you so much for having me.
I should follow through that. How come you're a fairy godmother?
Well, I actually love to grant wishes to children.
Right.
And I've created these...
Can I be a child?
You can be a child anytime.
I've got so many wishes.
I'd love to grant them for you.
Oh, okay.
Basically, a couple of years ago, I came up with the idea I wanted to create a Royal Princess Ball. And I wanted to create the best one in Australia. Mm-hmm. And I started off with the first one in 2016, and it was so big that I've continued to do it every year. And it is like the hottest fairy event in town. It really is. It is.
Well,
just...
you sit them on the hot plate and off they go. Now, we'll talk about this later.
Yes, okay.
I just couldn't miss that opportunity. But talking about Betty, so we chatted
Yes.
on the phone and I've known you for some time.
Yes.
And I usually ask the guests when we have a pre-interview chat.
Mm-hmm.
So you were born...
in Adelaide.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And
what, you want the year? Or?
No, I know that you've 85.
Yes,
you know, you've lived a good life.
I was born to migrant parents who had migrated from Greece and born in the 60s. Mm-hmm. And I always had a love of music and radio. And I wanted to pursue that. My dad wanted me to be a real estate agent.
Of course.
And I never pursued that. So I basically followed my dreams. And I think that for a child, especially a Greek girl from a migrant family, that really wasn't a good thing to do, to go and sing in bands.
No, well, I suppose the reality was they came here for a better life, and I think all people that come to Australia for a better life want their kids to have an even better life.
Correct.
Because they know the difference between a hard life and the lifestyle we have in Australia, which is fabulous.
That's right. Not singing rock bands with little mini skirts and singing my hearts.
And all those boys floating around.
That's right. So anyway, I did it. I loved it. I worked with a lot of bands. I toured around Australia. I ended up touring. I was fronting a Tina Turner tribute show. I ended up moving to Dunk Island and working.
Okay.
It was fantastic.
I didn't know that.
That's where I fell in love with far north Queensland.
Oh, right.
And basically, I can say that I have loved every single minute of it. I don't do a lot of singing anymore. I think what happened is when I moved up to far north Queensland, I started working in radio, and I was a talkback producer, and then I became a breakfast co-host. But before that, go back to 1987, I won the Perfect Weather Girl competition on 5KA.
On radio?
They were remember Macca and the Fox?
Hang on. Now, you're on radio.
Yes.
How would they know you're... Oh, because it's the Perfect Weather Girl. It's not the perfect anything else.
That's right.
Because you didn't need to wear a swimsuit for that back in the 80s.
That's right. So
swimsuit on radio is always good, like tap dancing on radio.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. So, remember Macca and the Fox?
Yes.
It was Macca and the Fox. They were looking for the perfect weather girl, and I really wanted this. I had done my radio course, and I really wanted this gig. It was like going to make or break me. So basically, I went to see Mem Fox. Right. And Mem Fox was a lecturer at Flinders University at the time. My sister recommended I go see her, and she sat down and she helped me with my application. It was my application that stood out. We were all auditioned. We all went in. There was about 12 of us.
Did you understand what isobars were at that time?
I slowly got to realise what isobars were.
Okay.
Yes, that's right.
Please explain. What are isobars? That's all right.
Anyway.
I thought we got drinks and they had tubs of ice to put.
No, they're not those kind of bars.
Okay.
Anyway, don't even go there. No. And so basically I auditioned, and the listeners had to vote. And I won.
Nothing like a public vote.
That's right. I won. I had so much fun. Met so many people.
No, you're lucky because you've got that timbre in your voice as well.
Right.
Like, you're not too high and squeaky, and you're not too low that you could be a fella.
No, that's right. Well, maybe that was also something.
Well, for radio, you know, that's probably the most important thing.
The voice.
That you've got a warmth in your voice.
That's right. That's right. And, you know, I do love it because I talk to a lot of kids as well, and they just stare at me. And I'm feeling that maybe it is the warmth that they're actually hearing as well.
Yeah, there's something. It's like a trust, I think.
I think so too.
You can trust somebody who has that warmth, and sadly, I'm not sure it's something you can learn. I think it's something that you're born with.
Yeah, and it comes from within. From within. So after that, that's where I met Jeremy Cordeaux, and I met a lot of radio people at 5K. It was a fantastic station to work for. Anyway, I continued with my bands, moved to Dunk Island.
Sorry, I should just explain for all the people watching in Melbourne that 5K was for a long time with 5AD, those two stations were sort of the pop stations here in South Australia. And if you wanted to know what was going on in the world, they were the musically particularly.
Yeah.
But 5K was owned by, I think it was the Methodist Church.
Correct.
And that was interesting too, because it used to be, the studios used to be in one of the church buildings that no longer exists either.
That's right.
Like the stations have all changed.
Very popular station. So anyway,
we're showing our age there, Betty. 36.
I loved 5K. So anyway, moved up to far north Queensland, talkback producer, radio host on an FM station, and then I got a call from a program manager. He was wanting to talk to me about a new radio station that was going to be launched in Cairns called CFM. And for 3 years, what I did is I was going backwards and forwards to the Gold Coast and catching up with him. And CFM was launched. I was the first female on breakfast radio there. It's now owned by Triple M.
I love
which was absolutely fantastic. And was up there. Then I did a little bit of television with Channel 10, you know, going out and reporting on entertainment stuff. Then I moved back to Adelaide. But before I moved back to Adelaide, I saw this ad. You know, there were newspapers then, no internet, and it was for Jesus Christ Superstar. They were casting for it. And I rang my friend who was a rock singer, and I had seen, you know, John Farnham, Kate Sobrano's version of, saw it in the Superstar, saw it at the Entertainment Centre, loved it, and I said, you need to audition for this. You will be an amazing
You thought, I
Jesus.
can do that.
Well, I wanted him to go for Jesus, and he said, oh, no, I want to go for Judas.
Oh, okay.
I said, I want to go for Mary Magdalene, but I've never done theatre before. So we went to the information day, and everyone knew each other, and we were there in the corner. We didn't know anyone, and we auditioned. Anyway, I can't stand auditioning. You know, we used to send air checks. We had, for radio, it's not a live, to audition for radio, it was an air check. Anyway, so I went and I started singing I Don't Know How to Love Him, and then they called me back, and then they called me back, and then my friend Marty, who I had asked to auditioned, and he rang me on the Wednesday and said, I've got the role. So I waited Thursday, no call, waited Friday, thought, no, I'm going to drink my sorrows now at Jono's Blues Bar, never got the role, but they called me on Saturday morning. And when she called me and offered me the role, I said, you've got to be kidding me, because I had psyched myself out of getting it.
Yeah, funny how you can do that, isn't it?
And it was the best thing I had ever done, and that really changed my life. That's where my love of theatre started. And then
I think once you've been bitten by the bug...
That's right.
I mean, there's nothing like, first of all, doing it more than once, because most TV and radio, when it's a live show like this, you only ever do it once. You know, we only have this conversation once. All these people are only listening once.
That's right. That's right.
But when you're doing a stage show, you've got a chance to really find the character, to really enjoy the process, the build up to get into the show itself, the come down after the show, the family that you're working with. Am I telling all the things that you feel?
Absolutely, and it's so upsetting. Every time a show finishes and everyone goes, the final night.
Hate the end. Yep.
Oh, it's just so gut-wrenching. But anyway, it's a beautiful thing. And so I had done another couple of shows up there, the Hot Mikado, I played Kadisha, I did Cozzy, I played Lucy, and then I came to Adelaide and I was lost. I had did not know where to start again.
It's funny that, isn't it? When you're away from home for a while, everybody moves on, but you've moved on somewhere else,
That's
but
right.
nobody knows that.
I had a great job, I had great friends, I had done so many things.
So why did you come home?
I just felt it was time.
Yeah, I think everybody feels like that.
My parents were getting on, and I started getting so homesick.
Without asking real ages, was that around 40-ish?
When I was around 40 when I moved?
when you came back.
I was actually. I was about 38, 39.
It seems to happen to most people who go away. You might have had a career wherever and you think, oh, you know, I'm going to that second part of my life,
That's
my
right.
family, I've got to come home. Speaking of coming home, we've got to take a short break and we'll be back in just a moment. Our guest is Betty Samis. We're talking about her life story and we're about to talk about why she came back to Adelaide.
Correct. Well, I came back to Adelaide because I did get very homesick. I've got nephews and I've got a niece. And
Greek family,
and I was missing spending time with them and them growing up.
Home preserved olives, were you missing them too?
Yeah, and the Greek tomatoes in the backyard.
Without
they are the
them.
best. So I came back here and I just didn't know where to go. What to do. I was lost. I came from a great job. I came from a great life. Where do I go? And I literally sat in my bedroom, I think, for about 6 months trying to think of what to do. And
Really?
It was really such a sad...
But with the background that you had, it didn't occur to you just to go out and bang on the doors?
Look, I did put a little band together. Yes, you are right. I did put a little... But it just wasn't... There was just something missing. And then again...
But you've also worked as a girl group with other girls?
I did. That was the Rubies later on. That was when I actually, you know, kind of...
When you came out, so to speak.
Came out, that's right.
Of the bedroom.
That's it. I saw an ad in the paper again, and it was for Godspell with Northern Light Theatre Company. And I thought, look, what have I got to lose?
God.
And I went and I sung my heart out at the audition, and the music director said, oh, I need this voice in this production. Usually when I go and audition for amateur productions, they go, oh, it's too rocky. You've got such a rock voice. It's a rock musical I'm auditioning for.
Yeah, of course.
But, you know, that's their opinion. He was wonderful to me and gave me this opportunity to play Sonia. And I absolutely loved it. And it really brought me out of my shell. And then I was like, back to being Betty, and I started working more with my bands, and then I started doing stuff with 5AA. I was working at the Australian Traffic Network, and I was reading traffic out every day, and I got
What happened to weather knowledge and those isobars?
Exactly. That's done now by the news department.
Yes,
and so I spoke to Matthew Pantelis from 5AA, and I said, Matthew, you need an entertainment kind of reporter, someone to talk about what's happening in Adelaide. I mean, everyone's doing that now, but back then there wasn't a lot of people doing it.
No, but you were very good with that.
Thank you.
Because you're out and about a lot.
Thank you.
So it was great because we all... See, the trouble is not everybody wants to trawl through Facebook for hours every day to find out what's going on, or Instagram or Twitter or X or whatever. The reality is, if somebody says, hey, this is good, I've seen it, come and see it.
And I've also got the contacts,
Yeah, exactly.
I've got people's direct numbers. So if I see something that you're doing, I won't email you. It's like, Malcolm, can you come in the studio straight away?
Yes, exactly what we've done.
He said to me, look, this sounds like a great idea. You know, I won't be able to pay you, but, you know, if you want to come on a Sunday afternoon on a show and talk entertainment. And I started doing that, and I've been doing that for like 14 years now. But
do you know, this is, this thing of volunteering for certain things, it opens so many doors.
Well, it took 14 years.
Well, yeah, but, we're not 20 anymore. We don't need to buy a house and all those things.
That's right. So a beautiful friend of mine, Angie McBride, who works at 5AA, she knew my background, and she said, look, we really need good producers, because I'm really about good content and sourcing good content for listeners. And I started working there as a producer. Absolutely love it. Back to radio, it was like, this is where I belong. Just love it. And, kind of thought, well, I'll give it a go, and it's been great, and I've been working with some great people, and it gives me the flexibility to work through summer, and I have winter off because we've got the footy. So,
of course,
you know, I come on casually.
So yes,
and
of
fill
course, because people are looking for content during summer.
That's right.
Because the cricket is, you can only talk so much about cricket at the end of the day.
Yep, and football.
Yes, right.
But anyway, I'm not a big sports person. I do love the cricket, but I'm not a big AFL person.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm doing that, and then I'm also focusing on my children's event company.
Yes, well now talking about that and getting back to the fairy godmother bit, because we were joking about at the beginning of the program, you have probably got, well, it's what you set out to be, the most successful kids entertainment of the princess thing in Australia.
Thank you.
Which has really worked out well for you.
It has worked out well for me.
Full houses.
Full houses. I started out because I love children. I don't have any of my own, so I wanted to create this for the kids. But I think when you pull together your performance...
I was just thinking, sorry.
Yeah.
It's always... I love working for children, have done all my life.
Yeah.
Never had to take them home.
That's right. That's right. They're very cute, though. So I'm forging ahead with that. We're also doing shows in Melbourne because I had a dream to do it over there. I did it, and the response was just phenomenal.
Is it just little girls that come along with their
little
families?
Boys too. And
because it is all about the fairy tale princesses that we all sort of grew up with.
That's right. Everyone wants to meet Cinderella.
But isn't it interesting that even with the English royal family, you know, we're very attracted to the young princess and the young king in training, so to speak, and we're interested to follow their lives and careers. So nothing like as a child thinking about being a princess and whatever we think that means.
And there's nothing more beautiful when I speak. Or a
prince, of course.
That's right. When I speak to a child and, you know, I talk to them and I say, oh, you look so beautiful, you know, that I got Cinderella ready for the ball. And their eyes just light up. And it's the most beautiful thing to experience. It just warm and fuzzy. But I forgot to mention when I did move back to Adelaide, I bumped into a man by the name of Poster George. And Poster George drives rock stars around.
Right.
And he had known me.
I know about this with you.
Yes, he had known me.
Talk about, we didn't talk about that, but talk about a variety of things that you do in life.
I know.
This is a great story. I'll let you tell it.
Yeah, okay. And he saw me, I think I was at some rock concert at the entertainment centre, probably Tool or something like that, and he said, would you be interested in driving for me, because we need drivers with personalities and we need drivers that know the industry and we need drivers that can get things for artists when they want it, and you know Adelaide. And I said I would love to.
So basically this is picking people up maybe when they arrive,
correct,
taking them to a hotel,
that's right,
then maybe taking them to the rehearsal and or the show.
The sound check.
But what a lot of people don't realise is that as soon as they walk off the stage, usually they're gone.
They're gone. And people say to me, oh my goodness, you hang out with them. No, you can't talk to them unless they speak to you. That's one thing that George taught
I'd always
me.
Talk to you.
He,
you can pick me up anytime.
He said, don't become a fan.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, it's funny because one of the most amazing people I ended up driving recently was Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20. And he was the loveliest guy, because I walked into catering at the entertainment centre. I heard their sound check, but I didn't see that he was sitting there. And I saw his band and I said, guys, that kicked big time. I'm a musician, I heard it, it was fabulous. And he got up and came up and gave me a big hug and said, thank you so much. And I looked at him and it was like, oh my goodness, you are just so gorgeous. I can't turn into a fan. I can't turn into a fan.
No.
Anyway, so I dropped him off at the airport. He gave me a big hug and he was absolutely wonderful. Look, the majority of time, Michael Bublé was just great. Natalie Imbruglia, phenomenal. Pink, fantastic. You don't really get the artists that are really bad. It's actually their entourage that think they're the stars at times.
Well, you know, you don't get to be that popular if you're not a nice person.
And it filters.
The audiences know, I mean, for all performers, and you know this too, if you aren't if you don't feel it inside, if it isn't really you that the audience is seeing, then they don't really like you.
That's right.
Audiences can spot a phony.
They can.
The entourage can be whatever they want to be,
That's
and as
right.
nasty as they want to be, or as difficult as they want to be.
Yeah.
But the star is only there because they actually have that warmth.
That's right. It does
As
filter
do you,
from the top,
in
though.
fact.
Thank
I mean, you have that warmth.
Thank you. Yeah, but it does filter from the top. You know, if everyone's having a great time on the tour, you know, it's either Pink or Michael Bublé's tour, because he just walks into catering and sits down with everybody, and he's such a lovely
Best
guy.
way to be. Absolutely the best way to be.
Fantastic.
If you don't get to know, the advice I would give to anybody who wants to be a star is if you don't get to know the people who are around you, maybe the sound guys or in the studio, the camera crew, the directors, the producers, so on, you sort of need to create a home family environment to make it work.
Yeah. I was just watching the Bon Jovi documentary, and that is exactly what he did. They were all a family. And, you know, when the Ritchie and the Bon Jovi split happened, he was just like, what am I going to do? They had a concert that night without a guitarist. But he was that smart that he had someone in the background playing rhythm guitar that stepped up.
Yep.
So you've always got to kind of have a backup in these situations when
That's
the
right.
turmoil starts happening. So I've been driving and doing that, and basically what I'm focusing on now is doing my children's events in Melbourne, continuing them in Adelaide, driving if George calls me, and still doing some producing.
You just never know.
At 5AA.
But you never know what's around the corner.
Well, you don't know.
I can tell you.
What?
A commercial break.
Well done.
Welcome back. Betty Samis, this has been your life.
Thank you very much.
Actually, it's been great chatting with you because, particularly because of the radio thing.
Yeah.
Because not everybody knows who it is that's talking on radio.
Correct.
And not everybody knows how difficult it can be to get a guest in that's current for a radio interview, that can make it on the time that that particular program is on, and can also feed the host enough information, because the host or the person on air doesn't always have, you know, a brain full of who people are.
That's right.
So you've got quite a lot to do. How do you prepare all that?
Look, I always have a backup, and my phone and my contacts are massive. So if a guest doesn't show up and we get no callers, I will just ring. I mean, I can ring anyone from Rosanna Mangiarelli to, you know, I forgot to talk about my Today Tonight days, actually, when I was doing undercover work for Frank Pangello.
Oh, yes, you were.
Yeah, the amount of times that he put me into these situations where I had to go undercover to do his research, seriously. But they were 2 fun days.
But see, this is the brilliant thing. You know, most people only see the final product. They don't realise what's underneath all this.
I set up the Blind Joey story, which was a guy that was ripping off women who claimed he was blind. So I had to get on a dating site and actually ask him for a date and set up a restaurant in Hobart for Frank and the crew to go. And Frank said the restaurant was fantastic, because when I called, I asked questions. Are you by a window? Is there easy access out? I have somebody that is in a wheelchair. We might need to get them out to the car park to give them a shot. Like, I would just make up stuff to see if the camera crew can come in. It was fantastic. We had the best time. And, you know, Gray Marcher was just an incredible producer, and, you know, a program like that was really successful for a long time. And
it's interesting because programs today, there's a lot of gotcha stuff on. There was a bit more style in the past, I think, in those sorts of programs, you know, where you're doing an investigation. It was probably more the sort of investigation that now they make stories about.
That's right.
Rather than the real thing.
Yeah.
Betty, it's been lovely to talk to you.
Thank you for having me.
And obviously your next Princess events will be coming up both here in Adelaide and in Melbourne.
And in Melbourne.
So best thing is to check you out on?
Myself or my princess?
Your
page?
princesses.
It's called Once Upon a Princess on Facebook.
Once Upon a Princess,
Yeah.
yep.
And I'm on Facebook too, if you want to
So
check
good
me out
luck
as
with
well.
that. Do you do your fairy godmother? Do you wander around
Absolutely.
sparkling everybody?
I'm the star of the show.
Of course you are.
That's what I say when I walk in. The star is here.
Okay. Well, it's been lovely to be in your bright, shiny glow.
Thank you.
So until next time, everyone, keep yourself nice. Till then, bye.